Hi, welcome back to the last in the series of my Orlando bookings and how I try and minimise the spend on booking our Orlando holiday. This is the last one with car hire. The prices for car hire have gone absolutely ridiculous lately. So you're going to be spending more than you would have been previously. Now, I have a few tips just on car hire for people. Firstly, don't get sucked into paying extra for a sat nav. You can use Google Maps on your phone. Have a look at my other video on using Google Maps to get around and using offline maps. There's also the option, if you don't like having your phone there, or a phone holder holding your phone and you think you need a bigger screen, if you hire a sat nav, you'll usually you won't get one with a built-in sat nav. They'll give you a cheap and nasty aftermarket one that plugs into your cigarette lighter. If you want to go for one of those, you'll probably pay somewhere in the region of $10 a night for it, which is, for a 2-week holiday, is $140. You can buy one of those in Walmart for less than $60, and you'll have it then for however many times you go. So if you really prefer that type of thing, then use offline maps on your phone to get yourself to your nearest Walmart once you've landed and pick up a sat nav from there. It's way cheaper than hiring one, so don't get sucked into that. I've also had times in the past where the car I've had has had Android Auto or Apple CarPlay capabilities, where you can plug your phone in, you download the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay app, you plug your phone into that, and then it mirrors your screen on the screen in the car. So you're then able to use offline maps or whatever to get yourself around without any issues at all. So that's sort of one thing really to avoid. The other one, it can be a bit awkward, this, and it depends heavily on the ages of your children. And I wouldn't, I would leave it to your own sort of judgment as parents on what's best to do with this sort of thing. But the car seats are the other thing that can add up if you add them on as an extra. We've tried all sorts of different things in the past. One time we did hire car seats, and they were horrible things. They looked like they'd been used dozens and dozens of times before, and they were a bit grotty. And again, we ended up paying, because we had 2 children who needed them at the time, we ended up paying an extra $300 pretty much on top of our car hire price to actually have the car seats. Whereas another time we went, we actually took car seats with us. They let us take them on the plane when the children were much younger, and they let us actually put them in the seats on the plane, so they had boosters. So we've tried that as well. Another one which we tried, which was worked out quite nice, was we bought the really cheap just basic booster seats for, I think they were £2.50 in the likes of Home Bargain, or sometimes you get them in Asda. They're very sort of basic polystyrene ones with just a cover on them. We put those in our luggage to go out. We used them to get from the airport to the nearest Walmart, and in the Walmart we actually bought some really nice seats for the children with cup holders and armrests, and those cost us around about $40 each. So for less than a third of the price of hiring them, we were able to buy some, and the children enjoyed them so much we even ended up taking them home with us, and they used them in the car at home because they were way better than the ones we'd paid £100 for at home. So that's my sort of tips really on trying to avoid overpaying for car hire. Another one that's really nice, we find, is if you're staying in the same hotel for the whole holiday, don't get sucked into hiring a car that's bigger than you need. For example, there's 4 of us, and we usually have 4 suitcases, 4 lots of hand luggage. So it'd be very tempting to hire a large car which allows you to fit 4 pieces of luggage and 4 pieces of hand luggage in the boot, as well as 4 passengers. Now, realistically, you only need the boot to be that big on the drive from the airport and the drive back to the airport. So with the 4 of us, what we've done is we've just hired a much smaller car. I think one year because we weren't doing much driving anyway around, and we were just sort of going back and to Universal and Disney. I think we visited Daytona as well. We just hired a car the size of a Ford Fiesta, and then we were able to put all our hand luggage and one of the suitcases in the boot, and then on the back seat we were able to then put 2 suitcases on the back seat in between the children, and the other suitcase my wife had on her knee in the passenger seat. It was only a half an hour drive from the airport to the hotel. Okay, it wasn't the best thing in the world, but wasn't the end of the world, and it saved us hundreds and hundreds of pounds on car hire. So these are just a few things that we've sort of picked up over the years, so it's worth sort of taking those into account when you're hiring a car, especially when the prices are really silly as they are at the moment. So on to the sort of the main thrust of this really now. On hiring a car, we always look at these 3 places. We've found historically that these have been the best 3 places to hire cars from, cost wise and convenience. The beauty of them as well is you can usually now, certainly for the last 4 or 5 years, you don't have to get to the airport and go and queue up at a rental car station to actually get to the front of the queue and show your documents and faff about and try to upsell you onto a higher spec car and things like that. What you can do now is you can check in online before you go, give all your information and everything else there, and then when you arrive at the airport, instead of going to a hire car desk, you just go straight out to the airport into the car park, show your documents to somebody who'll be sitting in a booth there, and they'll tell you which line contain the cars that you've rented. So if you go for an economy car, they'll say, okay, you can have any car you want from A. So you go to row A, whatever cars are there, the keys will be in them. You just jump in the one that you like the look of and drive it out, and then on your way out of the car park you'll show your documents to a guy who'll stamp them, and then that's it, you're sorted then. It just makes it a lot more convenient. I mean, we've had times in the past where we've waited an hour and a half in a queue for to get to the car hire desk. There's none of that anymore, and I don't know what others do, but certainly with these 3 places we've had that previously. So what we tend to do is I'll have a look at the price for each of these 4 grades. We've got economy, intermediate, full size and SUV. We always go for a 4-door because there's 4 of us. Obviously if there's more of you, you need something bigger. I'd avoid 2 doors unless there's only 2 of you. But what we find at the moment, usually there is quite a stark difference between an economy and an SUV. But for some reason at the moment, with after the pandemic, when all of the car hire companies dumped their cars, the prices have gone through the roof. So gone are the days where you could hire the cheapest car possible, and when you get there you find they haven't got any left, so they automatically upgrade you for free to a higher model. That sort of thing doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately. So what you tend to find is you have to hire the size of car that you want, and then you take that with you. But looking at this, the daft thing here is that for an economy car, which is a very sort of basic model, they'll all have air conditioning in Florida. I don't think it's illegal for them not to have, to be honest, but for a basic economy model, we're looking for a fortnight is of £1,049, whereas for a full size model, which would be somewhere in the range of sort of the car size here of like a Mondeo or something like that, a Ford Mondeo, only 684. So it's always worth checking all of the grades and all of the costs, and you might find something a little bit cheaper higher up the spectrum, if you know what I mean, because they'll have more of those cars, they'll have a glut of them, so you'll be able to go from there. So that's sort of it from me, really. So that's how we tend to book our car hire. We've had a lot of success in the past with these. I have seen this Discount Florida Car Hire. We have only used them once, and we booked on their website because they were the cheapest at the time. I know I've seen on some of the Facebook groups that if you phone Discount Florida Car Hire, you will usually try and get a better price if you speak to them on the phone, because their website isn't always fully up to date with what cars are available. But I must admit, when I'm doing research, I don't want to be phoning up and asking for costs for various different models of cars and then just saying, right, thanks very much, and hanging up. I'd rather do it all online, so that's why I don't tend to phone them. If you find that they're close to the cost of one of the other ones, then yeah, by all means give it a try. One thing I would advise is always go for the top level of insurance. A lot of these now, certainly Costco Travel are very good for this. That you get a full tank of fuel and you go full to full, so you take it out full and you return it full, and then it makes life easier then as well. Plus you get one additional driver free as part of the deal, which a lot of the others don't unless you go for a higher level of insurance. But I'd always go for what they call the gold level, which is full to full and additional drivers if you can, because even if there's only two of you, invariably it'd be better if both of you can drive. So that's my take on car hire. I hope that's been useful for you. If you've liked it, please put a like on the video and subscribe to my channel, and there'll be more coming soon. Thanks very much.